we're ready to review the Strategic Angler Espada series. This is one of the baddest stick baits around, custom made, and it's absolutely destroying bluefin up here in the Northeast. Now that we get a full season under the books, I feel comfortable giving it a solid review. Here's my philosophy on custom tackle. If you're a serious fisherman, then you've invested significant money in boats, tackle, all your rods and reels, networking with local captains just to find out where the bite is, just to get out there and have an opportunity to throw a stick bait at a busting giant bluefin tuna. When I get out there, after the amount of time and money I've spent, I want to throw the best. And I want to not only know that it's going to hold up, but it's going to elicit a strike. And I think that's why we're doing this review today on Strategic Angler. I personally feel these are some of the best custom-made tackle out there. And from a full season in the books, I can tell you from experience that these hold up. Our primary usage was to target bluefin tuna in the school to medium-sized class here in the Northeast off Cape Cod and Stellwagen Bank. We were successful. We had multiple takedowns on this bait this year on bluefin. We also used the floating version earlier in the year, June, July, for topwater action for stripers. It was very, very successful with the floating versions. For us, when the fish are keyed into large baits, mackerel, especially half beaks, and they're chasing them on the surface, the Espada is deadly. As always, you gotta match the hatch. When the fish are finicky and they're feeding on small fish such as butterfish, we usually have to swap out the Espadas. It's really when they're targeting large bait fish, especially on the surface, that you wanna use these. Here's an Espada sinking version. After one full season of use. Here's the other in both sand eel and in ballyhoo. These have been fished hard this season. Both of them have had hookups. You can see they're still like pieces of art. The Espada is 9 1/4 inches long, making it a very large stick bait. Floating version weighs 3.5 ounces. The sinking comes in at 4.5 ounces. Have a tendency to sink tail down. The sinking sinks at about 1 foot per second, when the floating has a neutral buoyancy and will float on the surface. In the Northeast, we're fishing surface feeds. There's a lot of bird activity, there's gannets, there's shearwaters, and they're all in the same mix where you're throwing the plug, so it really helps to get the bait quickly down underneath that activity. It keeps the bait in the strike zone for that much longer. Gives you a better chance to hook up. We use a combination of a 2 treble hook setup, front and a rear. We'll also take the front off if we want to get a slower sink. A lot of people also use a combination of 2 singles. The trebles will put wear and tear in the plugs. We like to use a rubber band on each of them, which basically pins them. It stops them from, while you're running, it stops them from creating this wear and tear. The only real nick that this thing has, the little nick on the epoxy finish, which was done by me when I bounced it off the wheelhouse of the boat. But again, it's a quick fix. You can tell it's still flawless outside of the hook rub marks, but again, you can sand that out. Maybe put a little bit of finish epoxy on there. I'll bring that foil right back. I would say the drawback is the amount of action that the angler needs to give to the lure. You really need to be experienced to be able to work this. This thing doesn't have any life on its own. You really gotta work it to make it jump in the water and give it some life. The floating model, you can walk the dog, you can do a side-to-side retrieve, really at a slow to medium retrieve. The sinking model, you can get an underwater walk the dog action with slow twitches, which really makes the thing come alive. Quick right or left sweeps will make the lure roll subsurface. You really get it to flash on its side like an injured bait fish. There's a reason why these are hard to get, especially the sinking models. They're carried in a number of tackle shops in the Northeast. You can contact Merv at Strategic Angler directly. I'll leave his contacts below. Also, the local tackle shops that hold them. All things considered, you gotta take it down a couple pegs because of the cost. It's not for everybody, but the effectiveness, the versatility, and how long these are gonna hold up over multiple seasons, we're giving the Espada a solid 9.3. I know when I'm targeting 300-pound bluefin on spinning rods, I'm only gonna throw the best, and I'm gonna reach for an Espada.